You've tuned into Bellingham Podcast Media Tech for the week of November 13th, 2016, episode 19. I'm AJ Barcet.
And I'm Chris Powell. On this episode, take heed, one and all. We'll share some secrets and tips to shop safe online as this holiday season approaches. And we'll share our favorite spots in the Parkview District of Bellingham. Parkview, you ask? Yes, folks, Parkview. All that and more right here on BPM Tech.
So, Chris, was that a movie reference? 'Cause I don't get it.
No,
okay.
not at all. It says I don't think Parkview is a district in Bellingham that gets a lot of publicity.
Got it. Okay, that's why I was confused.
There is a district called Parkview. Did you know that there was a district called Lafayette?
Did you Google that?
No, I'm just making it up.
Okay. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing fine, thank you, AJ, as best as it can be. Yes.
So this week we're going to be talking about purchasing plethora of junk online.
Yes, the online extravaganza that is about 2 weeks away.
So what we're alluding to, folks, is Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
That's right.
Also, just buying stuff for the holiday season. Now, you're probably thinking, why are these guys talking about purchasing stuff? What we're going to talk about actually is the backside of it. We want you to be more aware of where your data is going and perhaps how to better secure oneself while you're browsing online as well as buying stuff so that you don't get your credit card bill at the end of the month and say, hey, why do I have $100 in UGG boots? Because, Chris, I don't know about you. I'm not going to wear UGG boots.
And especially when I only intended to purchase $5.50 of socks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get this started. So let's talk about the pitfalls, okay? When we usually in the tech world, we say, like, this is a trusted site. What is that?
A trusted site usually has a secure certificate associated on their website that would create that private connection that others may not be able to intercept. If you see a green lock or a lock by the www. whatever address on your web browser window, that lock usually means this is a secure encrypted connection. And a trusted site would have that available so that you can trust should you transmit any data or username or password. I think that would probably be the best way to go about that.
Yeah, no, and the big thing about the holiday season is that if you do a Google search for your favorite doodad, you're going to see a plethora of sites, especially if it's going to be popular. Like last year, I remember the little BB-8 Sphero thing. Everybody's raving about that thing. Beware of a good deal. Like you may see a site and it's like, oh, wow, it's only $5 as opposed to $50. Ask yourself, really? Why would it be discounted that much? Be sure that whenever you put in your credit card information or whatever, make sure you do check and make sure that one, this site looks legit. We've all seen sketchy sites, right? Oh, yeah. But also make sure that little lock up on the top or HTTPS is showing, because perhaps somebody is just putting it out there just for the holiday season, just to scam your credit card. And we don't want to see anybody compromised. And
for what it's worth, we're all about getting a good deal for what we talk about. But consider this, ladies and gentlemen. If you purchase something that is for a screaming deal, whether it's new or used, you want to have something that is not going to get destroyed within the first 90 minutes of playing with it. Yes. Therefore, consider maybe kicking it up a few dollars in your budget, not going for the lowest bargain basement price deal, and going for something that is of reasonable price and quality, because that will last you longer in a lot of ways.
And also be aware of knockoffs. I mean, this is something that has been around. I think a couple of episodes back, you made the joke of, you want to buy a watch, and there's this guy with the big trench coat, and it looks like a Rolex, but it says Schmolex on it.
Yes.
Be aware that, especially when you're doing things on, like, not to throw them under the bus, because I shop on it frequently, eBay. You'll see something that looks, smells, scratch, sniffs like insert favorite brand here, but when you get it, you notice that it's a little bit cheaper. Maybe it's not made of the same materials or held to the same quality standard.
And also, you might want to be careful, since we're talking about eBay and Amazon. So I've had a couple instances where there have been some purchases made by members of my family who shall be remain nameless.
Well, you just threw your family under the bus. So.
Well, I haven't, not necessarily, because we're not. But some of the items that are purchased on eBay for a very good price that would fit a small time budget, you may want to look at where it's being shipped from. because oftentimes, you can always look at the ratings. It's always important to look at the eBay user ratings to see how many sales they've actually done, whether or not they have 100% positive feedback or not. If it's coming from Shenzhou, China, or coming from Hong Kong, keep this in mind, folks. You are looking at about a month's delivery time.
So not in time for the holidays.
Well,
possibly.
As of recording now, we are just a month and a half away from Christmas. Now, if you're going to be ordering something and you got a great deal, you got to be prepared that it's not going to be here within a week if it's from overseas. Also, you might want to keep in mind that with overseas shipping, it might not show up, period. And even with the tracking number, things may happen. So please consider the source, whether it's eBay or Amazon, as you check the potential delivery time, where it might be coming from if you are on a time crunch, if you're one of those late shopper mindset kind of last-minute shopper kind of people.
Totally. And along the same lines of eBay, I mean, you're going to purchase stuff and you may use the service PayPal. I think you and I both use PayPal pretty religiously. The thing about PayPal that's a lot nicer that I find, as opposed to just putting in those wonderful digits on a piece of plastic, is that you have one extra barrier before your bank. So if somebody tries to intercept that PayPal transaction ID or Apple ID, Apple Pay ID, it's an anonymized quote-unquote number. Anonymized in the fact that it's not really attached to your bank. It's a transaction ID. So if you buy that doodad from some obscure location and you're wondering in the back of your mind, maybe I don't want to, give my full credit card. I should use PayPal. What PayPal does is that when you buy something, the transaction ID is bonded to the amount. And so if you did have somebody that got a hold of that ID and they wanted to charge more than that amount, it would get blocked. As opposed to using like your debit or credit card, once they have your debit or credit card, they're going to keep racking up the charges. And this is when we see a lot of fraud overseas as well. So bear in mind, you might want to use Apple. I keep saying Apple ID. I'm not used to saying Apple Pay. Using Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, or PayPal, whatever you feel comfortable with, just so that you have an extra layer of security between the transaction and your bank.
And by the way, in case you get something that is not described or not
as described,
and you're really this is not what you ordered, and
you may be taught,
and it may be damaged upon shipment, et cetera, these things happen.
You may be peeved.
Yes. Instead of having to go through the stress of dealing with the seller, PayPal has a whole setup, and eBay has a whole setup of people that will go on your behalf.
Yeah.
The seller, it's really the seller's word over the buyer's word over the sellers. And so that may be an additional point in favor as opposed to standing in line for a retail purchase, because customer service, depending if that receipt gets misplaced or something, that could be a more difficult time.
Yeah. And this actually just recently happened to me. I purchased something from eBay and it wasn't as described. Tried to get a hold of the seller, nothing. And so I escalated it to eBay, and eBay immediately was just like, nope, your case is right. Here is a shipping label on us. Send it back within 12 days or whatever they told me, and we'll get you processing. And I've never had to deal with that. So at the time of this recording, I haven't seen my refund yet, but the process seemed fairly unintimidating. Like eBay really was like, they want you to be happy.
Absolutely, and it's a few clicks of the button, a few pages to go through, a lot less standing in line and having to be with a bunch of people that are grumpy with customer service salespeople. It can be done at your convenience. We're kind of doing this theme now because we're kind of wanting you to get ahead of the game, so you're not relying on these awesome mega super deals that you'll find on Friday. Or Monday. And because many sites are going to have pre-Black Friday deals.
Pre-Black Friday.
And
Ultra Black Friday.
And pre-Cyber Monday on the weekend and hourly, whatever. is it really worth waiting for that to save a few bucks, or can you get out ahead of it if you can handle it and do some of these tips to be able to avoid yourself the stress of the crush of time? Oh, by the way, if you're a company and you have millions of orders that are going on, shipping times may be delayed as opposed to how they might be right now.
See store for details. Mileage may vary.
That's right.
So let's switch. So eBay is more the wild, wild west when it comes to acquisitions. I mean, there's some legitimate people. There's some illegitimate transaction, or not illegitimate transaction. That sounds bad, but you may get things that are not as described or of cheaper quality. Let's flip this on its head and let's look at somebody that everybody knows, Amazon.
That's right.
So Amazon, or if you're like me, an Amazon Prime, you get free 2-day shipping unless it's back ordered or anything like that. Chris, what's your thoughts on Amazon just in general?
I really don't like endorsing a particular product because I use many different. I'm a fan of Amazon, and here's why. I've been a Prime member for about 7 or 8 years now.
Yeah, I think I've been since they started it.
I found that even when you buy from third-party sellers that are not businesses that don't offer 2-day shipping, you get a chance to leave feedback. It just seems to be an easy. The user reviews section has been gold to me for learning more about a product and how it's actually used. Now we got to be careful about manufacturer reviews,
right?
But
or paid reviews,
or you take it with a grain of salt. But I found that Amazon's selection for whatever you're looking for is far expansive than retail, or what you might find in a brick and mortar real life store. I've just found that, sure, 2-day shipping is wonderful, but to be able to compare prices with either buying it directly from Amazon or from another competitor, or refurbished or used, here's a way to save some shekels to be able to buy other gifts as well to make your Christmas budget go a little bit farther. I'm a fan, and really I'm a thoughtful individual, if you haven't found this out by now, folks. And so when I see something or think of something that I know that my wife or my daughter might like, I have a better shot of finding it somewhere on Amazon. And I have a little bit more confidence versus eBay because I've grown to trust their business model. And so, nail me to the cross if you're not a fan of the big A. But I think that would be a great source in lieu of braving some retail stores that you might find in your hometown.
Yep. The other thing I want to point out is there's 2 sides to Amazon. Well, 3 sides if you count their warehouse. But you have Amazon Warehouse, which is typically where their deals are. These are typically returns or things that are on a heavy discount. You may want to check the search bar and drop down where it says Amazon Warehouse. The other thing is you have Amazon Marketplace and Amazon proper. And this has bitten my wife a few times where she thinks she's buying it from Amazon, but really it wasn't. Even though it said free shipping, she assumed that was the same as Prime shipping. You may get free shipping, but remember, Prime means that free 2-day thing. Free shipping might be just free shipping from the seller. Bear in mind when you buy an item, see where it says sold by. And if it doesn't say Amazon, it might have somebody's ID, like Ace Chris Powell Tech.
How'd you know my storefront name?
I don't know. Note that you can compare prices that way as well, because Amazon may be selling a widget for $99. Ace Chris Powell Tech might be selling it for $89. It's the same listing in Amazon, but on the right-hand side, you'll notice you'll say or maybe it's not on the right-hand side. Maybe it's below the widget. I can't remember where on the interface it is. But it'll say new or used sold from X number to X number in price. So that's another good way. But bear in mind, you may not be buying it directly from Amazon that way.
Yeah. But just always do the research. And if there's something that you're dead set on doing, here's a couple places, both eBay and Amazon, that you can compare prices and get a little bit more information from what other people have seen. There have been a number of times when I've considered getting an external hard drive, and the user reviews have panned it. They're all like 1 or 2 star reviews, not due to the seller, but due to the quality or things failing.
Right.
And so the user reviews section has been fairly helpful in a lot of ways, using your discerning which is kind of important. So,
yeah. So Chris, using Amazon or eBay, do you have any, instead of doing like an app on tap this week, do you have any like extensions or any services that you use to help scout the best deal?
Yeah, there's been a couple that I've researched in preparation for the show, and some that I've used in the past. As you are doing some research, this is for Google Chrome users. So inside the browser, you go to settings and you go to extensions in the upper left, and then you go to get more extensions, and then that'll take you to the Chrome Web Store. Inside there, type in the word honey.
Aw, shucks, Chris.
That's right. I'm feeling rather schmaltzy right now. No, actually, Honey is a free extension that automatically finds and applies coupon codes when you're shopping online. Now, with the Google Chrome Web Store, let's take a step back for a second. That is anything goes in that area, because you can have some one-person developer come up with something and label it very close to a very popular extension, not the right one. Got to be careful. Right. Look for in the Chrome Web Store how many users have downloaded this app
and reviewed it.
For Honey, which everyone likes being able to save money on your purchase. If you can come up with a coupon code without having to go through the labyrinth of Google searches for Retailmenot or Groupon.
Hey, you're looking on my sheet.
Yes, I tracked your web footage already, or your web history already. There are over 2.6 million users that have used Honey. It may be worth a try just to check out. You can go to particular sites, and it seems to be a fairly reasonable interface, intuitive wise.
I've used it.
So a second one that you may want to consider is called Invisible Hand. And for all you economists out there, you'll love the name of this extension. Basically what this does is when you're in Amazon, for example, and you type in what is a hot product now? GoPro drone.
There we go.
GoPro Karma. Right. And as you type that in and you get some search results within Amazon, there'll be a yellow bar that'll come up towards the top of the window and says, available elsewhere for fill in the price. There's a little drop-down box. You can choose what site you want to go to. It's a nice immediate way of getting some competitive prices without having to open up a bunch of browser windows, a bunch of Google searches, and having to click your way to get carpal tunnel, trying to figure out the best deal to get yourself a drone this holiday season. So Invisible Hand, oh, by the way, 215,000 users so far, approximately, have downloaded this extension. It gives you a little bit more frame of reference for potentially better ways that you could save money.
That's cool. Yeah. I've used Honey. I haven't used Invisible Hand. Mm-hmm. Honey has never saved me any money, unfortunately.
Your mileage may vary.
Yeah. So again, like both these recommendations are solid, but again, it depends on what you're looking for, and also, if there is a deal going on. For me, I use just straight up Retailmenot. Like I've used it. I just recently used it for a site called Overstock, which is kind of my other pick. If you're looking at eBay and you're looking at Amazon and you're like, man, I wish there was like one other contender, I would totally throw in Overstock. Typically, they're a company that basically receives like the excess from most companies, like Macy's or whatever. I don't want to call it like an outlet store, but it's kind of like an outlet store. But not everything is discontinued or anything like that. But Retailmenot, I just usually check there and type in Overstock and see what's going on, and it aggregates all of the deals. And what's nice is if there's coupon codes that can be applied in multiple. So for instance, like if there's an 11% off in jewelry and a site-wide 10% off, you can grab both codes.
And you stack them.
Correct.
Oh, that's nice.
So I do like Retailmenot because it kind of aggregates it, and also it'll show how many people have tried it that day, and so you can see if it's still active or not. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but typically speaking, at least recently, if people have tried it that day, it works fairly well.
Very good.
The other one that I've got going back to Amazon is CamelCamelCamel.
Is this like Beetlejuice?
CamelCamelCamel.
Tell me about Camel. I haven't messed with it.
So I really can't claim this. One of my former students actually turned me on to this service. CamelCamelCamel is a simple website where you put in a URL for something on Amazon that you want to track the price for. And so you can also set it up so that it'll track the price and give you notifications at its lowest price point that you put in.
That's tasty.
So you can also do it for Amazon, sold by Amazon, also by third party, also for used. So you can have multiple notifications, and it also shows you a graph of the lowest price over time. So if you're like, I really wish I could get this widget for $75, and you see that, well, actually a year ago around July, it dipped around, $73. Well, hey, you might want to watch that trend. So that way you don't buy something, especially high end, For instance, if you're buying a watch, you may want to, like a higher end watch, like a Swiss watch, you may want to throw it into CamelCamelCamel because sometimes there's a dip, sometimes the exchange rate changes or whatever, and you're able to pick up a deal, but you have to act quickly because, that dip mileage may vary, see store for details type of thing. So anyway, CamelCamelCamel, it's been a huge resource for me in saving some moolah on the Amazon.
Very good. So that's 3 Chrome extensions that could definitely help your online buying experience. I got a bit of a web hack that I've been working on that I've noticed in a lot of my research in buying stuff online. Oftentimes, you will go to a website, and it's not really the big ones like eBay or Amazon or Etsy or other things like that, but you go to a particular a website that will sell stuff. As you're browsing the website, as you're scrolling down, oftentimes with some WordPress sites, there will be a pop-up that will say, subscribe to our email list and take 10% off your order. Okay. Now, by the way, for you Gmail users out there, if you use the username, so let's just say my email name is chris@gmail.com. If I was to put in for the email address, Chris with a plus sign and web, so Chris plus web @gmail.com, I can give them that email address, and then I will receive, delivered to my chris@gmail.com inbox, a 10% off coupon code for which it will probably cover the cost of shipping, which is kind of like getting free shipping, which is kind of nice. So along those lines, if you do this for a number of places to get yourself some savings, you can create a filter in your email to say anything from chrisplusweb@gmail.com goes into this retail filter.
Interesting.
And you bypass your inbox, and therefore when they bombard you with our save all this now newsletter, you won't get clutter in your inbox. So just kind of browse around a little bit, click on a couple items, and see if you happen to get that magical pop-up to sign up for their newsletter and save X amount % on their first order. I think that would be a way to save a few bucks, depending if you're buying a $50 item. Hey, that's $5 less you got to pay.
Yeah, groovy hack.
Yeah.
So moving on to more local.
Local.
Bellingham,
Yes.
districts, Parkview, go.
Let's go. So Parkview District, where is Parkview District? That's a really good question. I'm going to say that Parkview is around it's around the I-5 corridor. I'm thinking around the Meridian, south of Bellis Fair zone. This could be around the Birchwood stoplights. This could be around the Squalicum Parkway stoplights. Around that zone is Parkview.
So it's that gray area I mentioned last.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And I'm not going, and you don't get to rip me about this one because this is official now.
Nope. I gotcha. We're good.
So anyway, in that zone, there are a number of businesses and establishments, but one thing that has really made some news recently in Bellingham is a Bay to Baker trail that actually starts at Cornwall Park and is a countywide project to end up to traverse Bellingham and a lot of other places around the county and end up at the foot of Mount Baker. Whoa. And in the Parkview area, if y'all were to take, if you know where Sunset area is, and you bear with me because I was just talking about Meridian, if you go past Sunset Pond, there's a little bit of a parking area by Sunset Pond, and you walk a little bit, you will have a wonderful flat straightaway trail that will go past Bellingham Cold Storage.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, there's a big industrial complex.
Yeah.
But you're looking at a good 2 miles straightaway walk. For those of you that just enjoy a bike ride without going kamikaze,
woo!
Here, and when the weather's nice, of course, here's a flat plane for you to be able to enjoy a bike ride. I can't wait for some of these nonprofits to host a 5K with this Bay to Baker trail system that's currently there. So in the Parkview District, check out the Bay to Baker trail that starts off at Cornwall Park and goes east towards wherever you can go until you run out of gas.
Dude, that's cool. And that's a new trail?
It's been developed for quite some time, but in October, I believe they completed a connecting portion of this trail that would go underneath the I-5 overpass, which is rather entertaining to see because now you can watch all the cars zoom by and see the massive amounts of graffiti on the reinforcement bears underneath.
That's urban art.
Urban art, yes.
There we go.
But graffiti is urban art, and that's totally cool. So I'm a fan of the Beta Baker Trail. Rain or shine, it's a great place to go.
Dude, that's cool.
How about you? What's up in Parkview for you over there?
Well, you kind of named it, Cornwall Park.
Yes.
So Cornwall Park is nice because, especially in the autumn as it is right now, if you have a cute kiddo and you have a decent camera,
you have both,
and I do have both. Take your cute kiddo and your decent camera or even your smartphone and just take a walk there. There's awesome bridges. You can get some awesome, cute, ad hoc style family photos there. Or just, family, not as a collective. I mean, if you have a tripod, sure you could. But it's a great scene. I actually take clients there to do family portraits there. Mm-hmm. And you're outside. It's great. Also, if you want to do a different kind of leisure activity, did you know they have a frisbee golf course.
Golf.
Yep. So I think it's like one of the only frisbee golf courses, and it's got like I don't remember how many holes.
18 holes.
Is it 18 holes? I don't know golf, but I've played. It's fun. Maybe not on a autumn day, but maybe in the spring. Replay BPM, listen to this podcast, and grab a frisbee and go out and check it out. Cornwall
Park's always a great place. Plenty of parking too.
Totally.
Yeah, and so as we're wrapping up, AJ, we got a little bit of time left. As far as what you are currently working on in your professional development life, what is the internationally famous photographer busting out nowadays?
Good question. It's been a while since we've talked about this.
Yes.
So since I had my kiddo, I'm still working on my photography. But I actually got done doing a shoot that I think you and I alluded to, but never really talked about on the air. And that was the shoot that I did for LifeX. LifeX is the company that does the Wi-Fi connected light bulb, does pretty colors. I did a shoot with you and Kevin called Light Fighter.
Light Fighter.
And it was an homage back in September to National Video Game Day. So we took a scene of Chris, my wonderful co-host, and a colleague of ours, Kevin, and they did these Street Fighter-esque poses, and then I painted light and it made it look like they were like wizards shooting out life force beams. So that whole shoot actually got released in September. Then in October, I actually did a vlog about it for my patrons. So I actually go into my DIY solution for making a light staff and save some money doing it because they can be expensive if you buy them straight from a photographic company.
And if you're curious, folks, I'm the guy in red.
He may look like a Marvel character that rhymes with Schmunisher. But anyway, you can find out all about that on my Patreon page, patreon.com, patreon.com/AJ Barce. Or if you just want to follow what the geek I'm doing, you can hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. It's just at AJ Barce. How about you, Chris?
So I'll make a shameless plug for something I'm working on. So I'm curating whatcomworkflow.com. And if there are any listeners out there that own their own business or are professionals or are making money and happen to use technology in their professional work environment, shoot us an email at hello@whatcomworkflow.com.
Hello.
HELLO, rhymes with jello. And or you can shoot us a voicemail, 201-731-TECH. I'd be more than happy to get in touch with you. Love to learn about your technology that you have in your professional business life. If you're in Whatcom County, you qualify. So other than that, I did a little bit of a experiment where I took a couple websites that I had done very short, less than 300 word essays and more than 300 word essays, and I combined them onto this writing website called Medium, medium.com. And so I entitled a little bit of a publication called Quiet Conversations.
To which I subscribe.
Well, that's a newsletter.
Oh, this is different.
Oh, this is different.
Oh.
So I have, so tinyletter.com/Christopher Powell. That's the name that my mommy calls me when I've been bad. That is a personal newsletter that I kind of write about whatever I decide to write about. There's really no set agenda. It's a kind of a self-walk processing with a quiet conversation with a friend.
That usually comes out every Friday, doesn't it?
I intend to try to get it out on every Friday, but I've been busy on a couple of occasions. But it's more of a personal, less shouting letter delivered to your inbox than most email newsletters or other blogs you may read. But anyway, I decided to put my writings on Medium just to see what kind of response I'd get. Got a couple of views here and there, but I want to give that a try. So medium.com/quiet-conversation.
That wraps it up for this edition of BPM Tech. Thank you so much again for listening, rating, reviewing us on the iTunes Store, on Google Play Store, on SoundCloud, or anywhere else you enjoy this podcast. Also, coming up soon in the local Bellingham area, we're going to have an announcement.
Dun, 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 dun.
We're going to leave you hanging. So on that cliffhanger, I'm AJ Barsay.
And I'm Chris Powell. Thanks again for listening to us on BPM Tech.